Well, hello and welcome to yet another video. We are going to be talking about some subjects about the plan, of course. And before I even get started, it's going to be a lot easier to share Newsday articles with you because I decided to subscribe. They have a heavy discount, and part of the reason why I decided to subscribe to Newsday is because this guy. Yeah, Bruce Blakeman, after many years, the official paper of Nassau County is going to go from Newsday to New York Post because, well, Newsday isn't in bed with the Orange Monster. So, Blakeman, look, they're all Trumpers, man. They're all just, this is what the Post is a freaking rag, all right? I mean, that's not a reputable news source at all. That's like Fox News, all right? Give me a break. So, whatever the case is, that's why I subscribe to Newsday. So I'm going to share with you some of these stories. And the first story I'm going to share with you actually has to do with, and we got to find it actually. I didn't look for it right now I'm going to have to pause the video already. I kind of screwed up already. Just a little bit into the video. I already screwed up in here. I do apologize. Let's see. We'll go to local. I think something. Let's see. News. Go to the news section here. It's in here. I saw it earlier. Now I can't find it. Let me pause the video. I do apologize. Okay, I found it. This is about the way we treat people with disabilities in affordable housing. Not going to play the video for you, but what we will do is we're going to read the article for you. And this is, again, about, because Newsday covers a lot of stuff that News 12 just doesn't cover. And this is another senior complex in Nassau County, that is. And this is part of the reason why I absolutely despise Bruce Blakeman, because most of these problems are in Nassau and not Suffolk, which kind of tells you what Bruce Blakeman thinks. He's a Trump light. I mean, the guy's a piece of shit, all right? Bruce Blakeman. He is. He's a piece of shit. I'm going to say it right now. Yeah, Bruce Blakeman. I'm putting you on the screen. Bruce Blakeman. I know it's not professional when you call him a piece of shit, but that's what he is. That's what he is, this guy right here. He only cares about the rich. He only cares about the white finance professionals. He treats everybody else like dirt, this guy. He's a real scumbag. All right? But anyway, yeah, because of that. But let's go to this article here. So, one after another, seniors gingerly walked into the middle of an impromptu circle at their public housing complex and aired their grievances on a chilly weekday this fall. Kathy Lai said she has black mold in the ceiling of her bathroom unit at the Dogwood Terrace in Franklin Square, which is overseen by the Town of Hempstead Housing Authority. The crowd of her fellow tenants groaned in frustration. When workers came up to her unit to view her complaint of mold, she said at first they dismissed her concern. They finally said to me, "We'll just paint over it," Leo said about the mold. The tenants gasped and chimed in with their thoughts, and laughed, "It's not out of sight, out of mind." So 5 public housing facilities on Long Island failed HUD's most recent inspection, unprecedented over the last decade. Federal inspection reports show issues with mold, fire safety, accessibility at the public hearing. 4 out of 5 facilities service almost exclusively senior citizens living under the poverty line. In 2022, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development found half of the inspected buildings at Dogwood Terrace had mold issues, including multiple basements, the community center, and in the bathrooms of several tenants' units. The mold findings were disclosed as part of the most recent federal housing inspection at Dogwood Terrace, which was not alone in its problems. Close to a quarter of the public housing facilities on Long Island, 5 of the region's 21 complexes, failed in the most recent inspection. All are in Nassau County. The lone facility, only one in Suffolk, is run by the town of Huntington, the lone facility in Suffolk. So it's only one facility in Suffolk. So you can see Suffolk tends to treat people better. The lone facility in Suffolk, run by the town of Huntington Housing Authority, passed its inspection. While the results also mean a majority of the public housing complex's 3,000 plus units passed its most recent inspection, averaging a score of 81 out of 100, the complexes that failed mark an overall downward trend for Long Island safety net. So, 5 out of 21 public houses on Long Island failed their inspections, and the ones marked in purple are the ones that are failing. All right, so we have one in Glen Cove. We have one in Great Neck. We have one in Dogwood Terrace. That's Franklin Square, where they read the article. Rockville Center. Yeah, Rockville Center also has one called Rockville Manor at 579 Merrick Road, believe it or not. And also another one, Mill River Gardens, 2900 Rockaway Avenue in Oceanside. So we're going to actually go into the map now and look at all this stuff. And yeah, this guy right here, just a real, I'm sorry, but I have absolutely, like I said, he's just like Trump. He is just, actually, he's worse than Trump in a way. He's worse. But anyway, let's go show you where these places are. First of all, Dogwood Terrace. This is Dogwood Terrace. It says West Hempstead. This is Dogwood Avenue. So let me go back to the article here. Go back to the map here. Where is it? Dogwood Terrace. It's 1170 Martha Place. Okay, so Martha Place. Franklin Square. So it's over here. All right, it's behind the Stop and Shop. That explains why we always wind up getting a lot of people on the bus in this particular spot where the Stop and Shop was on the 25. So this is where this complex is right here. All right, and these are public housing. All right, this is not supportive housing, but this is an example of the kind of stuff. Now, Mill River Gardens on Merrick Road. I don't know. This is another one in Rockville Center. I didn't know they had something on Merrick Road in Rockville Center. That was senior housing. That I did not know. So, this is 579 Merrick Road. Or Rockville Center. So, yeah, it's all the way over here. Okay, it's all the way on the east center. So, apparently this is also... but they neglect these buildings on purpose because... They can neglect them and then renovate them and then get the seniors out, and then they could have more snobs move in if it's a desirable area. So of course they're going to do that. So let me go on with the article here because there is more information. This is some of the scores that they have here on this sheet here. You can see here the ones that went below the amount. You can see all the numbers here that they have here. The better maintained ones tend to be in the town of Oyster Bay, oddly enough. A Newsday investigation revealed over 800 pages of inspection reports obtained through the Freedom of Information Law, analyzed tens of thousands of public housing data points, and spoke with more than 24 tenants over 3 months to better understand the state of public housing in the region. Meanwhile, the tenants, almost exclusively seniors living far below the poverty line, are left in conditions the federal government deems in its inspection as life-threatening. So you see, there are a lot of people that have it a lot worse than me. That's what I say. As bad as it seems for me, this is the way we treat people on Long Island with seniors and the low income and the disabled is really poor. All right. In the 5 facilities that failed its most recent evaluation, federal housing inspectors found 40 life-threatening issues in the sample buildings, according to the inspection reports. The issues included an apartment's emergency exit, a window blocked by a dresser, exposed electrical wiring in a boiler room, and expired fire extinguishers. 4 of the 5 facilities that failed to service seniors, according to the federal data. The data shows it is the first time in at least a decade that senior Long Island housing complexes have failed an inspection. Given the multi-year lag between HUD inspecting the properties and releasing the detailed information, it is unclear how the properties have fared since 2022 or if additional ones have faltered. An example of the property failing 2 years ago and having a new inspection that's already been publicly disclosed, Great Neck Senior Citizens Housing showed a property that failed its inspection once again. Conversely, Mill River Gardens and Oceanside failed in 2022, but a preliminary report provided by the Town of Hempstead Housing Authority showed that it had passed this year. HUD had not made that report public. Tenants were unaware of the results of the inspections, most of which were conducted 2 years ago, but the scores were released this past August. A familiar pattern emerged when Newsday spoke to tenants about their living conditions in public housing. They often would decline to speak on the record with their full name, some citing fear of retribution for speaking about the only place they feel they can afford to live. but would then quietly disclose certain concerns. Yeah, people are afraid to speak up because look what happens when you speak up. Yeah, you know what happens. Newsday showed tenants copies of the inspection reports, which often corroborated concerns that said they have raised for years. Tenants were surprised and some frustrated to have not been informed about the inspection results. The housing projects, Great Neck Senior Citizens Housing, Rockville Manor in Rockville Center, Mill River Gardens in Oceanside, and Kennedy Heights in Glen Cove, and Dogwood Terrace in Franklin Square also border wealthy enclaves. Yep. Federal data show the tenants typically make just over $23,000 per year, a fraction of the average income in their respective communities. Residents often waited years to get an apartment in one of these projects, according to the federal data. Congress has systematically underfunded the capital needs of public housing for years, and they've knowingly done that, says Edward G. Getz, director of the Center for Urban and Regional Affairs, University of Minnesota. And don't expect it to get any better with the orange monster, a.k.a. the fat bastard, running things in the White House. Congress has systematically underfunded the capital needs of public housing for years, and they've knowingly done that, said Edward G. Getz, director of the Center of... Yeah, we just read that. So he pointed that Congress underfunding its own formula for the upkeep and capital improvements of public housing. Getz, whose research focuses on housing and local community development planning and policy, said that underfunding leaves local housing authorities in a pickle if they are really committed to offering this type of housing. When described the conditions detailed in the federal inspection reports from Long Island Public Housing, Getz offered that's either a housing authority that's incredibly strapped financially or one that's simply mismanaged and not doing what's needed to provide a livable environment. Yeah, because they're trying to neglect the buildings so they can sell them to a developer. We're going to get to that in a moment. A HUD spokesman declined to answer detailed questions on the public housing complexes that failed recent inspections on Long Island, including inquiries on any specific penalties faced. The spokesperson provided information about the general process when a facility fails inspection, which ranges from remedying the issues to the potential for the appointment of a receiver or taking possession of the facility. Great Neck, the Village of Great Neck Authority Housing Executive Director Janice Solero said that the 75-unit facility is limited to charging 30% of their income for rent, and the federal government's capital fund has not grown with inflation. So that's similar to what I do. I have to pay 30% of my income as rent. So it's very much similar to supportive housing in the way the rent is paid. The housing authority is unable to renovate and has difficulty running the building, Soltero said in a statement to Newsday, because the housing costs have gone up and they're not getting the support from the government. Ed Cumming, the executive director of the Town of Hempstead Housing Authority, disputed the inspection findings by the federal agency. Of course, the Town of Hempstead would dispute it, of course. They're also run by Trumpers. The Housing Authority strongly disagrees with conclusions presented in the 2022 housing inspections. He pointed particularly to Mill River Gardens, which received the worst inspection score in Long Island in at least the last decade. There's a lot in this article. I don't want to spend too much time on it here. So if you want to read, this is some of the things that they have to deal with. All right? People have to deal with roaches in their apartment. This is the Great Neck facility here, all right? These are some of the pictures of the conditions found in the apartments. Oh my God, that's terrible. Up to par. Rockville Center housing authorities have relatively few complaints, though they've had relatively few frustrations. And it is scheduled for state-subsidized renovations. Everything is safe and kept up to par, said the residents. So people are fairly happy in the Rockville Center, unit, even though they get a failing score. This is also another. This is the one up on the hill here in Glen Cove. It's dangerous over here. That's a bad part of Glen Cove right there. So it's really it's quick to show anyone the cracks in the second floor apartment ceiling, which is said to sign the 1971 building that was built in is sinking, Dogwood Terrace. So this is the one that's in Franklin Square. So great article here, a long article, but there are other articles that I want to read to you. I will provide the link below so you can read it in its entirety. They have sales on subscribing, so I would suggest you do, especially because If they're against anything that's pissed off Bruce Blakeman is a friend of mine. All right, so I want to support anyone who Bruce Blakeman or Trump doesn't like. Well, those are people I automatically. All right, especially Bruce Blakeman. All right. So this is the other article here that I want to read to you about an apartment complex being sold at affordable. So it's the Hardscrabble Apartments in Farmingdale to be sold and renovated for $27 million by a Manhattan developer. So it says a Farmingdale apartment complex for low-income seniors would get a facelift and a new owner under a $27 million proposal being considered by the Nassau County Industrial Development Agency. Hardscrabble Apartments at 400 Main Street would be sold for $20 million to a for-profit developer. So this is not good. K&R Preservation by the nonprofit Farmingdale Housing Development Fund Company, according to representatives for the current and would-be owners. However, they say the ownership would not alter the complex's status as Section 8 housing for low-income seniors. Yeah. They say, we can ensure that this facility remains affordable and will stay senior, he said at last month's IDA meeting. Somehow, I don't know if I believe that. Betgate said each of the 80 units at Hardscrabble would undergo renovations over 2 years, costing between $40,000 and $50,000 per unit. The work, valued at $4 million, would begin next year. K&R wants the IDA to grant a sales tax exemption of $115,127 on the purchase of construction materials, supplies, and furnishings for the apartment rehabs, and up to $155,800 off the mortgage recording tax. The question is, where are the people going to go when their apartments are rehabbed? This article doesn't say that. The developer also has asked for 30 years of property tax breaks. If they are granted, the public school district and other taxing jurisdictions would still receive more tax revenue than they are now because the property has been tax exempt. The IDA board had voted unanimously to begin negotiations with K&R for a tax incentive package. K&R, founded by Brian Raddick and the late Francine Kelman in 2017, specializes in rehabilitating public housing projects while keeping rents affordable. The company has made improvements to nearly 5,000 apartments in New York City, Albany, Kingston, Mount Vernon, Spring Valley, and in New Jersey. Raddick and Kelman started K&R after working with 3 other developers at Preservation Development Partners to restore and stabilize public housing, primarily in the metropolitan area. Raddick, K&R CEO, said at the IDA meeting that his company always tries to hire local unionized construction workers if the trades that we're looking for are available. The Farmingdale apartment complex was the brainchild of 4 area churches and a synagogue in the early 1980s to provide housing for low-income people who are aged 62 and older. For Hardscrabble is located across the street from one development fund member, Farmingdale United Methodist Church, and around the corner from another, St. Kilian Roman Catholic Church. The other members are St. Luke's Lutheran Church and St. Thomas Episcopal Church and Congregation Tikva. We provide independent living for seniors, and there's a social services coordinator on staff to assist residents. But the place needs a redo, and we don't have the money for it. So they need to renovate it, obviously, so it doesn't fall into disrepair. Kressel said that the 15-member board of the development fund voted unanimously to sell Hardscrabble to K&R under the condition that the complex continue to accept Section 8 vouchers and charge affordable rents, and hopefully that is a legal binding document, so hopefully. He said the board began exploring sale options for its only property about a decade ago. It's a marvelous place, but it's time for a handoff, said Kressel, an attorney. He added that the 5 religious institutions will use the $20 million in sale proceeds for charitable purposes. So this complex here is located in Farmingdale off Main Street. And this is an area, of course, I think it's this area right here. I think these are the Hardscrabble apartments. So this is the apartment complex right here. Looks pretty nice. Looks pretty well kept, but they say it does need a renovation. It's just for seniors, not for people with disabilities. But yeah, this is it right here. But still, it's a great location because it's right near the downtown Farmingdale area, which has been doing great. Of course, I tried to get an apartment downtown Farmingdale. It's actually very close to Main Street back when I was trying to move out of Westbury, and they said, no programs. So I couldn't be part of that. But yeah, hopefully they keep their word. But I'm skeptical because I know how the plan works. And let's go to the next thing. This is News 12 now.
Answered
Questions swirl as Woodbury Nursing Home is set to close. Residents may lose homes. Yeah, I mean, it just never ends here.
questions tonight for residents and staff at one of Long Island's largest nursing homes. Sources tell News 12 Cold Spring Nursing Home in Woodbury could be closing in just a few weeks. News 12's Cecilia Dowd is there now. And Cecilia, what can you tell us tonight?
This is the way we treat seniors on Long Island.
Well, Joe, I can tell you there are worried residents, concerned loved ones, jobs on the chopping block. For many, it appears the holidays won't be very merry this year as questions loom about the future of Cold Spring Hills Nursing Home.
I don't know if he'll live through this, to be honest with you. He's in bad shape. He's been bedridden.
With more questions than answers, those with loved ones at Cold Spring Hills Center for Nursing and Rehabilitation are beyond worried about what the future holds amid word that the facility is in financial trouble and the evacuation of residents may be coming. A man who did not want to be identified says his brother lives there.
It's unbelievable.
That's my biggest fear right now is where he might end up. I have no idea. Obviously, where they're going to put him. We're just praying that this all just gets resolved.
A person familiar with Cold Spring's plans tells News 12 the facility is in dire financial straits and says Cold Spring Acquisition is attempting to do a temporary emergency evacuation of residents if the appointment of a receiver takes too long. Some employees tell News 12 they just received word of layoffs.
Yes, I've been here for 20 years, so...
This is just unbelievable the way we treat people here on Long Island. It really is.
We said we don't think they're going to be closed because what they're going to do with the patient? In 2 weeks? I have things to pay. Yes, they send an email.
Union head George Gresham said in a statement that it's shameful how the owners of Cold Spring Hills have treated residents and caregivers and said they're forcing over 300 vulnerable seniors and people with disabilities out of their home during the holidays.
It's unbelievable.
This man says he'll be talking to his brother today.
So wherever he goes, I'll be there to help him.
It's horrible, man.
He doesn't need to worry about it. Everything's going to be okay.
Now, we are told the union head representing employees here is expected here tomorrow. Now, News 12 did reach out to the Department of Health.
Again, where's the governor? Where's Nassau County? Nowhere to be found.
Which tells us that it has not received nor approved a relocation plan for residents. News 12 has repeatedly reached out directly to the facility here. We have not heard back. Reporting from Woodbury, Cecilia Dowd, News 12, Long Island.
So I'm glad they're covering some of this. And I'm glad News 12 is covering this, though I wonder why. Sometimes I wonder why they're covering it, and it could just be because they're covering it because they want to get the word out that this is the plan that's going on. They're forcing the seniors out. They're forcing the disabled out. When am I going to get the real rug pulled out from under me? This is the kind of stuff that's very concerning. And then there was another story they did on the fire that happened in let's see, was this? This is not. They had one yesterday. They had one yesterday. I got to find it. Hold on. Well, this is the only story I could find about it. I think we already played this one. This was December 16th, about 2 days ago, that I covered this whole thing about the people are being forced out of basically their whole... I thought they had another story. They had another story on it. I don't know what happened to it. They had one yesterday. I know they did, but they just made it disappear. You got to love News 12 for that. They love doing that. They made it disappear. They had a newer story, and then they just yanked it down from the site. I can't find it. But it was another story about this incident, which I covered in the last video, speaking about the senior. But apparently, like I said, they scrubbed it from the site. They had a new story yesterday, but it's completely gone from the site. I don't know where it went. Yeah, it's gone. So they love doing that. I don't understand why they like scrubbing stuff from their website. It's very, very kind of suspicious, in my opinion. It's really very suspicious. So I don't know why it's gone, but you can see it's not here anymore. There was a story, and I wanted to do a video on it last night, but I didn't. Yeah, it's not here now, so sorry, guys. But that's News 12 for you. That's what they do. That's why Newsday does a better job on this stuff covering this. I think they have another article on this stuff too as well. But this is at least we'll have access to Newsday now, so I'm gonna just cover mostly stuff from there. News 12, just if they cover it, they cover it. But it's. Then there was another incident. So of course we've spoken now about the cost of everything. Oh yeah. Speaking of that, 3 words. I'm not going to put it up here. Let's do it from... Yeah, we'll do it from here. MTA. 3 words, MTA. Congestion pricing and fare hikes now. So now we got fare hikes in 2025. Yep, another part of the plan. And they're going ahead with the Queens bus redesign too, of course. So another part of the plan. They've increased the fares and tolls on 4% every 2 years. So that's what they do. So this is along with the congestion pricing, another way they can force people out. And there was a story. Let's see if we can find the News 12 story. News 12 Long Island had it. No, this isn't the one. See, now I got to go back to News 12 Long Island. All right, they have different stories. News 12 Long Island had. Now let's see. I think they scrubbed this. Oh, here we go. So yeah, I'm just going to let this part play here because, and of course, it's going to affect the railroad. It's going to affect everything here. And they also have they got that. It's not in the story. This is a new one. Okay. So, actually, no, it's not the News 12 one. I'm sorry. Are they in Mineola? They are in Mineola. Okay. At least they're in Mineola. I'll give them credit for that. It wasn't News 12 that had it. It was Channel 7. That's right, because I don't really watch News 12 that much. I really don't. So we can find the MTA votes to increase fares. This is the story, yeah. So this is the one we'll play for you.
Might call it chutzpah. The MTA today voting to approve a budget that is expected to raise fares by 4% next year. This, while the MTA hasn't been able to stop fare jumpers from stealing about $800 million a year.
This comes as the controversial congestion pricing toll is scheduled to go into effect 2 weeks from this Sunday on January 5th.
It's all part of the plan. They're pricing us out.
Live on the Upper West Side tonight with our lead story.
Taking away people's homes.
Liz, Bill, the new MTA budget and the fare hikes it called for come at a time of record-breaking ridership. Last Thursday, over 4.5 million people rode the subway. That's the largest number of people on a single weekday in over 4 years. It's unclear how a fare hike could affect those numbers.
The final budget for 2025 is approved. Thank you all.
Baked into that budget is a fare hike to kick in this August, rising the cost of subway and bus rides to around $3 a pop.
Transit is one of the very few things that makes New York affordable. We love the fact that you can go from the Rockaways to the North.
New York is affordable? What planet are you on? New York is expensive. Yeah, I mean, the transit fares in the city are not terrible, but affordable. And what world is this guy living in? He's a Wall Street hack.
Bronx, one fare, and it is a reasonable fare. We're trying to keep it that way.
The MTA has
the fares on Long Island Railroad are not exactly reasonable.
Raised fares every other year by roughly 4% since 2009. But in 2021, the pandemic eroded ridership, and Governor Kathy Hochul froze fares, a move she dangled again today.
So here's Kathy Hochul, again, acting like Kathy Hochul, being all chauvinistic and everything.
I was able to push off a fare increase already, so believe me, when I know how to stop something, I do it. So I'll just.
Oh yeah, you know how to stop. You know how to stay. Yeah, of course, you just do whatever the hell you want to do. You don't serve us.
There's already a record of that.
Fares went up, back on schedule in 2023, rising from $2.75 to $2.90. The new hike, if it follows the same pattern, would put the fare at around $3. And it's no surprise, says the MTA's Rider Advisory Group.
We know that that's coming every couple of years, and we know it's going to be 4%.
Listen to what this one does. This woman, I cannot stand her. She's corrupt. First of all, she's in bed with Rogers Alliance. She's no business being on the PCAC. But then she takes a shot at New Jersey. Listen to this.
As opposed to New Jersey Transit, which is bringing on its riders 15% fare increase over the summer out of the blue.
Riders we spoke with had mixed reactions.
Another raise in our fare. It's not fair.
It doesn't bother you?
No, it doesn't bother me because it gets me to and from my destination, and pretty much MTA is pretty much on schedule for me.
If we can see the improvement, then it's fair. But if we don't see the improvement, where is it going to? Is it going to the CEO pocket? I don't know.
And you don't see the improvement?
I don't see the improvement.
The MTA
it's
says
getting less
some
reliable.
costs
It's getting worse.
aren't visible.
80% of our costs are people and pensions and health benefits. So, there are small increases to those costs for our workforce, and we have to deal with that.
Also agreed upon today, a congestion pricing detail affecting the 2% of drivers who don't use Easy Pass.
Yeah, this is sneaky.
They will be charged $13.50 instead of $9. The fare increase still has to be officially approved at an MTA board meeting in March and by Albany. And if Governor Hochul does manage to come up with an alternate stream of revenue, then that fare hike...
They have the nerve to have a fare hike with congestion pricing.
First at 5 o'clock.
It's unfreaking believable. It really is. It really is just an outrage is what it is. It really is. Oh, and then we get to the crime, which of course, yeah, News 12 didn't cover some crime that we got to talk about, and I got to actually look for that, so give me a second. All right, this is the next thing we got to talk about, all the crime. Of course, the middle gets to deal with the brunt of it. This is an arrest of a Mineola man in Westbury. This arrest occurred on Monday, December 16th at 7:30 p.m. in Westbury. According to detectives, officers responded to a cross-street residence for a disturbance. Defendant Mario Alice Guerrera, 45, of 385 Willis Avenue, probably right in my neighborhood, was involved in a verbal argument with a female victim. A 45-year-old female victim and a male victim, 15. The argument escalated and the defendant broke a window to enter the home. A physical altercation occurred, resulting in the defendant striking both victims. Upon police arrival, officers conducted an investigation, located the defendant, and placed him to custody. The defendant was transported to a local area hospital for evaluation. An officer sustained an injury at the hospital as the defendant became violent and combative. Defendant Mario Alice Guerrera is charged with second-degree assault, third-degree burglary, third-degree assault, endangering the welfare of a child, and criminal mischief, and he will be arraigned on Tuesday, December 17th. There you go. I mean, this is the crime this is the last part of the plan, obviously. All these different facets of the plan that we've got to talk about. Let's go to the next thing. Where is it? This is the next one. Long Island man arrested after probation visit uncovered drugs and loaded gun. A probation visit turned into a significant arrest when police found drugs, cash, and a loaded gun at a Long Island home. According to Nassau County Police, the incident occurred on Tuesday, December 17th at 8 p.m. when officers were assisting Nassau County Probation with a visit to an East Meadow residence and discovered Benjamin Ramirez Munaz, age 22, of Westbury, living there illegally and violating the terms of his probation. Gee, what do all these things have in common? This is thanks to the governor letting all these... How many of these people are probably illegal, so I bet they are. All right. Trump's right about that, but we know he's not going to deport them because he didn't do them in 2016. He just says anything to get elected. A further investigation revealed cocaine, heroin, cash, and a loaded .38 caliber handgun inside the home. Munaz was arrested without incident. Munaz has been charged with multiple counts of criminal mischief of controlled substances as well as criminal possession of a weapon. He's also charged with violating his probation. He remains in custody and is awaiting arraignment. So let's go back to News 12 because there's something that actually happened in Levittown too. Yeah, another crime. Yeah, I know. Ridiculous. A man on fire seen running away from burning a portable bathroom in Levittown.
Police say ran from the scene of a crime while on fire. Police just released new video of the incident in Levittown. News 12's Logan Crawford shows us.
This new video from Nassau Police shows the man bursting out of the Port-a-Potty already engulfed in flames. You can see he tries to put the flames out before running down Sprucewood Drive once he catches fire himself.
He was actually running around trying to put his feet out, and then he ran down the street, and as far as like 3 houses from where the cameras went, you saw he was still on fire.
Police say the fire started around 4:30 Saturday morning in front of the home on Sprucewood Drive. They're calling it arson.
It was actually horrifying because you don't know if the house is targeted.
The Port-a-Potty is no longer here, but you can see burn marks on the front lawn, remnants of the Port-a-Potty, and the side of the house was also warped by the fire.
Who lights a Port-a-Potty on fire? I've never heard of a Port-a-Potty arson, only in Levittown.
No word on how the fire started. The Piccioni family, which owns the house, was not hurt.
We want to know who did this. We want him caught.
Police are still looking for the man who set the fire. Anyone with information is asked to call Nassau.
Why do I think it's a disgruntled employee who was working on the house? That's what I think. And who knows who was working on the house? Who were they hiring to work on the house? I think you can fill in the blank there. You can fill in the blank for that. Yeah. And more crime. Maybe I read this one already to you. They barely covered this, but 2 men robbed a delivery driver in Medford.
For 2 men, they were releasing video and information on this incident this morning. They say it happened earlier this month. Police say that 2 men removed the driver from his car and then hit him with a baseball bat right on Race Avenue. We're told that the 2 men then stole the victim's Honda CRV, which was recovered shortly after, but you could see one of the suspects running off.
I wonder if the 2 men, these are the same 2 men who killed that disabled person, the disabled elderly man in Deer Park. I wouldn't be surprised. They got to catch these guys. Got to catch them. It's ridiculous. Last crime. Yeah, this one's going to kind of surprise you. Yeah, that's right. Shots fired in Rockville Center. A man, it's News 12 didn't cover this at all. I should say, they even suck at covering, like, they don't want to cover enough crime. This is crime. It's been too much on political stuff. This is in the enclave, right in Rockville Center. A Long Island man arrested. He fired a gun. Report of gunfire led to the arrest of a Long Island man after officers discovered shell casings and recovered a gun connected to the alleged incident. According to Nassau County Police detectives, the incident occurred on Tuesday, December 17th. It did happen in the middle of the night at 2:15 a.m. in the parking lot of a commercial business at 525 Merrick Road in Rockville Center. Witnesses said, detectives said witnesses reported seeing a man remove a gun from his jacket pocket, fired into the air before fleeing the scene. Responding officers recovered shell casings at the location and no injuries were reported. Following an investigation, police, here we go again. Police identified the suspect as Felice Hernandez Morales, age 26, of Harrison Avenue in Freeport. Officers located him at his residence and placed him into custody. A black Beretta APX 9mm handgun was recovered during the arrest. Hernandez Morales has been charged with 2 counts of criminal possession of a weapon and reckless and endangerment. He was arraigned on Wednesday, December 18th. So he's not from Rockville Center. I'm going to figure out where this exactly happened. That may not be near the downtown. Let's go 525 Merrick Road in Rockville Center, and we'll see. Again, this News 12 did not cover that, so I already have Google Maps open. Go over here. So much going on. So many. Oh, it's on the east side. Yeah, it's not really in the heart of downtown. It's not far from the hospital, though. The hospital is right over here. So it happened over here. This commercial business right here, 525. So, yep, right in here. Shocking. Still shocking. I'm telling you, it just goes to show you, even when you live in the enclave, you're not 100% safe. Yeah, the middle deals with most of the crime, but it occasionally spills over to the enclaves because you can only fit so much crap in the middle of the island before it starts just spilling over. But, it was a rough day for those folks on Wall Street today. They lost very big today. Could this be the beginning of a stock market crash? Over 1,100 points in the Dow, down. 716 down on the NASDAQ. So a lot of big losses on Wall Street. And, they're not happy. They're not happy, but this is the only way we're going to get our real estate market to crash. Because the price is, once people can't afford to pay these crazy rents and home prices, then the prices will come down. But as long as you have people from Wall Street making money and trying to price us out, then the plan continues. I still want to see it stopped. So, thank you for watching. I hope you managed to watch this whole video. There was a lot to talk about as the plan just continues to ramp up here. And I gotta wonder how much time I have left, which is why I've got to try to enjoy Long Island while I still can.